Hi guys, welcome back to the BMW Guy YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about how the previous owner of my car wrecked it. So if you don't know, I've had this car for just over 18 months now. We've done about 25,000 miles in that time, and it's been one of the best cars I've ever had, to be honest. It's nice performance. It's a 120D M Sport, and I bought it. The bloke was a third owner. It had 80,000 miles on it, and he'd owned it for about 3 years. So what became immediately apparent to me is that he didn't have that much understanding of vehicles. The service schedule was a bit sketchy. He sort of scrimped on various parts. The tyres weren't actually the right size for the car. They were stretched over the wheels. They were a mismatched set. Just sort of all the basics that most car people anyway, would stay on top of. He sort of neglected. This also went through to how he sort of washed and cared for the car. As you can see, the number plates deteriorated, and this is a bit of a theme all around the car. Damaged the badge to the point where it's actually really easy to nick. It was half peeled off, so someone's just grabbed it and pulled it off. What else have we got? We've got various bits. He's done quite a good job on the alloys as well. As you can see, there's a massive chunk out here, and yeah, they're not in the best of conditions. There's something I need to sort. But one of the most annoying things for me is the fact that I don't know what he's been using, but the detergent that he's used has completely wrecked these tread plates on the rear. So I'll show you the other side as well, because it's just as bad. There you go. As you can see, it is completely ruined. So it's quite frustrating, because there's not something you can really easily fix. They're stuck on, but essentially he's been using some sort of detergent that's gotten under and hasn't properly cared for it, which has just damaged the adhesive and essentially broken the thing. Excuse the state of the car, but it's been well used at the moment in winter in the UK. Another thing that's sort of I had to address pretty early on is the paintwork. Now it's going to be very difficult to see. Yeah, it's going to be impossible to see, but it essentially looked like he'd washed the car with a Brillo pad. It's a black car, however it sort of looked a graphite grey, just because of how poorly the paint had been looked after. The swirl marks were horrendous. I actually spent the first sort of 2 or 3 days after buying the car just polishing it. It has improved it somewhat, but yeah, it's still a work in progress, and it will never be up to scratch. And the same went for the headlights as well. Again, obviously because it's wet and dirty, you won't be able to see, but I've actually restored these headlights since, because what he was using to wash the car has completely scratched up the lenses. So I literally had to sand it right back, clean it all off, and put a protective coating on it. It has sort of helped, but it's still not great. But yeah, just going back to just remembered on the back BMW badge. Now this is very, very rare for this to happen, but be able to see where the detergent he's used actually caused the BMW badge to decay. So he said he's been washing it with non-contactless washes. However, it's later transpired that what he's been using was a sort of a truck wash, which has a really, really strong detergent and will essentially remove anything that isn't rinsed off. So yeah, also there's a fair few scratches on around the car. In terms of the sort of bumpers and stuff, they're fairly decent, but door dings and general sort of scratching on the car is actually quite bad. So it's quite frustrating from that point of view. You do get the sort of obligatory M Sport front lip damage that appears to be on every single one of these cars. But yeah, no, so I've done a fair bit of work to this car myself. I've serviced it nearly 3 times since I've owned it now. Yeah, it's gonna be 3 times. The air filter on it didn't look, it looked very old, let's just say that. So I've had all that done. I've changed the front shock absorbers because the way he'd used the tyres had actually damaged the shock absorbers so much that they needed replacing. And yeah, so that's just something to bear in mind, guys. If you're looking to buy one of these cars, you do need to make sure that you give it a thorough inspection. All of these things I was happy with when I was buying it. I used it to sort of trade down the price and got this car for just under £4,500. So in terms of value for money, I've had an absolute bargain despite the few little issues that the car has. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Let me know what sort of stories you've got, stuff that you've found on your car from previous owners' activities, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.